Hey guys, welcome to the ScuttleButt Podcast. It's me, Amanda Buckner, owner of Untamed Fitness and Martial Arts down in Mount Lake Terrace, Washington. Um, oh man, today I am so excited to talk to you about what we're going to talk about today. Not only are we going to talk about nose breathing versus mouth breathing and how it can actually make you more attractive to breathe through your nose, but also something called hunter eyes versus prey eyes. And I'm so excited because I literally just like read about this, and it's interesting because we kind of go through life like, oh, the genetics that I was given when I was born is what's going to dictate whether I'm attractive or unattractive or have, like open sinuses or if I'm a good athlete or anything like that. But the more I research into this type of stuff, the more I realize that there's things that are directly in our control. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get to it. I'm actually going to, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, I'm actually going to share my screen with you guys just so you can uh, go over this article that I found. So before I go into that, mouth breathing versus nose breathing. This started to come up with working with one of my clients, and the first few times that we worked together, they were like really out of breath. We have to stop like maybe I want to say like every 10 to 15 minutes to have them catch their breath, and then be like, okay, I'm going to go back into it. And then they do like jumping jacks or lunges, like nothing, I'm not like having them like sprint up a hill or anything, right? But they would get like severely out of breath, and then they actually took it upon themselves to kind of like get a little bit of research into what's going on. And they eventually stumbled upon this like mouth guard, I guess is what you call it, right? But it fits onto the bottom of your mouth. It's called the airwave. Not a sponsored podcast, but if you'd like it to be, that'd be great. Any airwave representatives out there? But anyways, it's a mouth guard that fits onto the bottom of your mouth. And pretty much what it does is it reminds you to keep your tongue pressed to the top of your mouth, right? So it's not like the full tongue, right? I'm not like having my tongue flat against the roof of my mouth. What I'm doing is I'm pushing the pretty much like in the resting position, that the forward part of my tongue rests on the top part of my mouth, which opens up the airways, makes it easier for you to breathe. This is why like yogis and athletes and trainers and all those people that are like very athletic and need their body to work in like the best maximum capacity always say to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth. And you can actually take that one step further if you are in even better physical condition of in through your nose, out through your nose. But I think this also like goes to reference like why in our society we see athletes as usually attractive. Like every I want to say like every high school story that's ever been made into a movie, the lead like love interest of the dude is always an athlete, right? Like and it's just because I think it goes back to these roots that we don't even realize are happening. Is just like breathing through your nose creates like a strong jawline. You have to kind of stand up a little bit taller. You have to be more confident. Because you're breathing correctly, you're able to do more things with your body, and you're not limiting yourself, which therefore makes you more confident, which therefore makes you more attractive to other people. And it's like self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If I start breathing through my mouth, like first of all, it looks like you ever stand next to a person who's like a mouth breather, and you're like, you just want to give them a little bit more space because like you're like, I don't want to get your germs on me. I don't know who you are, right? It's like such a weird thing, but like you don't like people. I don't like people exhaling their air onto me if I can feel it, right? It's like not a place that I want to have any of my life spent in. But so mouth breathing, it's like pretty much like directly linked to like a whole bunch of bad things. Like you collapse your sinuses, so therefore you can't breathe correctly anymore. It's linked to like bad breath, increased amounts of what do you call it? Illnesses. Like I have to show you this article. It's so wild that all of these things are linked. But once you start seeing that, like, breathing correctly is like the easiest beginner step of all of these things, it's super, super cool. Okay, so here's the article that I found. It's on mewing.app, some type of blog. But it's called Mouth Breathing versus Nose Breathing, Effects on the Face, Teeth, and Jawline. But look at this. So over on the left, we have a person who like typically is a mouth breather. As you can see, they have like a shallow jaw. Like they don't really have that much definition on their chin line. Their nose is kind of like jutting out forward, and they have that underbite look, right? Like, because usually if your mouth is open, your jaw obviously is like on a hinge, right? So like if your mouth is open and not sitting where it's supposed to be, your jaw is going to like kind of collapse in on itself, like almost giving you a double chin, even when you might not normally have a double chin, right? And then over on the right, you can see this person has like a more defined jawline, like their face is a little bit more structured, right? So let's go down and read some more about these. So this talks all the way back to how mouth breathing can be linked back to childhood. And the earlier you start with breathing correctly, you start improving your posture and your face balance. And it talks about how mouth breathing is bad, right? Like growing up, my parents would always say like chew with your mouth closed, right? So I'd like chew, but you'd have to like breathe through your nose at the same time. I think I just like to eat as a kid. So I think that's why I started breathing through my nose and became a really good athlete later on. But look at this. So they have a little like a, I don't know, picture of negative effects of mouth breathing. So not only are you more prone to getting sleep apnea, but it also is linked to poor oxygen circulation through your blood. So you get poor concentration, your brain's kind of foggy. Also, you get dry throat. You get bacteria buildup, which leads to getting more illnesses. You have an unbalanced pressure of like between your lips and your tongue, which kind of leads to this abnormality of your teeth and your gums. Like, who knew it had to go that, like, how did we know it was going to go that far? It's like, I know, I'm like very excited. But this is like, I love learning about how deep different like butterfly effect type things happen. Like this is literally just the difference between breathing through your nose and breathing through your mouth. But it has such like a widespread effect that it just blows my mind. Okay, so let's kind of scroll down. And this is what I really wanted to talk about. So there's a list of problems that you can get with mouth breathing. And they listed out of like dry mouth, bad breath, long face, baggy eyes with dark circles. I'm going to skip over one of them for a second. Narrow nostrils, trouble with sealing your lips, a narrow upper jaw, overbite or an underbite, crowded teeth, brain fog, constant fatigue, snoring or drooling during your sleep disorders, as well as diseases of the nasal or sinuses and lymphoids. Let's just take a second and like take in all of that stuff of literally just making the choice of breathing through your mouth versus breathing through your nose. How many of you are listening to this right now and consciously trying to breathe through your nose right now? I know I am. And so I keep sniffling. But the one that I skipped over that you'll probably see if you're watching the YouTube is prey eyes versus hunter eyes. And I got to this when I was reading this article and I was like, what in the world is that? Right. And so, there's a link for it. I clicked on it, went over to the link, hunter eyes versus prey eyes. I'm going to read this verbatim. There is a study conducted on animals to prove that the shape of the eyes and pupils can tell if an animal is a hunter or a prey. It has been shown that vertical eye pupils are typical for predators, while horizontal eyes normally belong to prey. A similar situation is with people, as our eye shape can provide a very different image. People with hunter eyes have a prominent piercing gaze, while prey eyes give a more vulnerable, wide open look. So I think this kind of directly goes into why we think of, like they call them like doe-eyed like gaze or whatever. Like I think of like children, right? Like my daughter's got really big eyes, right? But like she's got like these giant eyes, like she's still no, like developing, whatever. But like I don't look at her and I'm like, oh man, like I'm intimidated by her. She's gonna kill me, right? No, it's like, children usually have like these rounder eyes, like a little bit more innocent looking, right? But I literally never even thought about this, of the difference of just like the shape of your eye, which can be fixed with exercise and breathing correctly. Mind blown. Like, oof, my mind just got blown. And look at, so this one up here, if you're like kind of having a hard time understand what I'm talking about, watch the YouTube video. But this one up here is the prey eyes, whereas this one below is hunter eyes. And like you see it, you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, of course. Like the guy up here, the guy on top, you're definitely friends with. The guy on bottom is like the one you're giving your phone number to, right? And you're like, you don't even know why. You don't even know what the rest of him looks like. You just know like, okay, guy on the bottom is definitely gonna like pick a fight for me, guy on top is like gonna sweet talk his way out of it, is like, oh no problem, no problem here, we're just gonna leave, it's okay. And I don't know these people. That's just like literally just looking at their eyes and their eye shape. That's the vibe that I'm getting. So let's read on a little bit more about this, right? So I'm not going to go too sciencey on it, right? This article is amazing. If you want to learn more about it, I'll put a link in the description below. But there's something called a canthal tilt, which is just pretty much where the outside of the corners of your eyes and the inside of the corner of your eyes, if it's like straight, if it's tilted up, or if it's tilted down. So if you drew a straight line from the corner of the inside to the corner of the outside, usually having a positive canthal tilt, which is where the inside corner is lower than the outside corner, that is a hunter eye, which I just thought about this, like in at least when I was growing up, when I was doing makeup and stuff, it was always a big thing to do these little eyeliner wings on the sides, right? So you would like over accentuate the bottom and like having it come up. And I think, you're almost exaggerating this positive canthal tilt, whereas the negative canthal tilt would be the prey eye. So that means that your upper corner is higher than the lower corner. And like I said, this is like typical science-based type of stuff. Like obviously there's exceptions to the rules, but like we're looking at the majority, not like the tiny like amount that we're not talking about right now. Okay. But this makes the glance softer, which I think is also why, like, if you look at this photo right here, as you get older, like I think you get these like excessive like wrinkles and like I forget what this part's called, where you have like the hood over the eyelids. I can't remember what it's called. But you get like all of this extra like around your eyes, which kind of like brings down that outside corner, which therefore gives you a prey eye, which is like probably why you're not as scared as like of older citizens than you are of like people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, where like they're in the height of their life, right? They have that positive canthal tilt, like they have that piercing gaze, right? But this just goes a little bit more into your hunter eyes. What makes the gaze more intense? Like it's saying that your brow bone for hunters is usually way more pronounced because it protects the eyes. And like, as you can see in each one of these, like each one has like that very overly pronounced forehead. And then prey eyes is just like I was saying with like my daughter, like a little bit rounder, softer. And how does this go into breathing, right? Like Amanda, why are we talking about eyes right now? Like you said earlier that I can change this. Yes, you can. So even if you have prey eyes right now, right? Like you have these open, like you can see that his canthal tilt is almost like a what do you call it? Like a neutral position, right? This guy definitely has a negative canthal tilt, right? But the larger orbits come from genetics or a recessed maxilla, which is like the top part of your mouth, right? The canthal tilt of the prey eyes tends to be negative, creating a more wide-eyed but downcast look. Okay, so here is a little picture of what your maxilla is on your skull bone, just in case you don't remember high school anatomy or if it was so long ago, right? Let's see. So this is a really cool one. So this is showing somebody that like this is literally the same person. This is both the same person of before they started working on their breathing techniques and stuff, and then this is after. So this says when the lower lid expands downward due to disease, aging, or surgery, the sclera, which is apparently the white part of your eye, shows and gets more visible. It gives a tired and downcast look. So see how like you can see way more of the white part of his eye versus down here, right? Like this, he kind of looks happier, right? And looking like if I blocked off this one, right? If I asked you, what's this guy? You're like, oh man, he looks tired. And like, if I said why, you're like, I don't know, just he looks tired, right? But if like, look at this guy, like, oh, okay, does this guy look tired? No. Why? I don't know. He just looks happy. Like your brain automatically maps this and you don't know why. Like, unless I physically said like, oh, look, there's more white part of the eye than down here. Like, oh yeah, I guess that's a thing, right? It's like those picture books where like find the differences between the two pictures. Okay. So talking a little bit more, I think they kind of get into like whatever this mewing thing is. I think it's just like a helping, like a breathing app. I'm not really sure. I should probably download it since I'm making a whole podcast on it, right? But this is saying like, how do your eyes affect your face? The eyes are obviously the first thing that we pay attention to when meeting someone. There's a great difference in the overall image of the person with hunter eyes versus prey eyes, and the same for a person with a strong, chiseled jawline versus no jawline. In fact, most of the models have hunter eyes as they give piercing gazes on the runway, attracting admirers and spectators' views. The hunter eyes affect the face by making a dominant, confident, and intense look. Such energy attracts people, thus making people with hunter eyes more appealing. Meanwhile, prey eyes appear to give a more submissive vibe while being wide open. People with prey eyes often look down and have dark circles under their eyes, so prey eyes usually don't give such a magnetic and confident glance. Man, okay, I'm going to stop sharing that for a second. Absorb everything that I just said. All of this comes from breathing correctly. How crazy is that? You can change your eye shape, your face shape, your jawline. And it's not any of these like crazy, like jar size, like, I don't know, like gimmicky sales stuff, right? These are literally just things you can do. Just make a conscious effort of breathing through your nose versus breathing through your mouth. And this is literally going to change everything. Not only are you going to be less tired throughout the day because you're actually getting enough oxygen, so therefore you're going to feel better. Maybe you'll be able to go do that jog later on tonight, or maybe you'll be able to go try out that fitness class or go get a personal training session with Amanda at Untamed Fitness. Selfless plug here. But like this literally just comes from the easiest thing that you can do, which is just change your breathing. Change your breathing, change your life. And like it just blows me away. Like I get it. It's like, people tell you that like everything affects everything else, and like the butterfly effect there's always consequences. Like there's always things that happen, right? But like you don't realize like to what extent, right? Like sleeping in an extra hour or getting up an extra hour early. There's consequences to both. There's good and bad to both. Breathing through your nose, breathing through your mouth. I want to say there's good and bad to both, but I don't think there's any good for mouth breathing. Like even though we start breathing through our mouths when we start getting fatigued and we feel like we need more oxygen, there's actually been a study showing that you get 20% more oxygen breathing through your nose than breathing through your mouth. Yeah, and that's just this facts. That's all I'm going to say about this. I thought it was like super interesting. Like I said, I'm going to link those articles to the description below just so you guys can check it out. But I thought this stuff was like very, very, very interesting. And like the better you breathe, the better you live. The better you live, the more shit you can do. And the more stuff you can do, the more like fulfilled you're going to feel in your life. Like, I know usually people kind of, I don't want to say like getting up there in age, but like I'm in my 30s and this is about when the time people start having like midlife crises and like wonder if they're in the right job and start realizing that they're going to start, like be working at Amazon for the next 20 years. And they're like, oh, is this really what I want to do? Like maybe I should buy a motorcycle, and like, I'm going to say something controversial, but I have a reason for it. I have the reason for my belief for this. I am all about body positivity, right? And I promise this has something to do with what we're talking about. So I'm all about body positivity. Like me personally, I have weighed in and I have fought at 135 pounds and I've weighed and fought at 160 pounds and everywhere in between, right? And for me, there's different levels of where I'd want to fight. Like I feel like grappling, I'm way stronger at like the 150s. Whereas fighting, ideally, I really like the 140 range is perfect. But when I'm outside of fight camp and I'm not doing anything, like high 150s into the 160s is great because I'm like strength training. I'm able to do different stuff. But the effect that it has on my body at these different ranges is like very pertinent. Usually outside of fight camp, I'm not running as much. Because I'm not running as much, I'm not really paying attention to my eating habits as much. Because I'm not paying attention to my eating habits, my mindset is all jacked up. I'm just like, I feel like I'm, I don't want to say sad a lot more, but like my brain just feels foggy of like, what am I doing? And like, it's literally just like the fighter mindset, right? It just happens to be, if you're a fighter, this is just something you have to deal with is like this overwhelming sadness that you randomly get throughout your life. Because, you go from fighting and like being in a fight to like literally the lowest of lows and then kind of like back into the middle of regular lifestyles. Right. But going back to it, like, I think setting yourself up for success in anything that you want to do, right? If you just breathe correctly, you can set yourself up for success of whatever goal that you have, right? Like I'm a fighter. I love fighting. I'm always going to want to try to like shape my body to be the best fighter possible, right? Whether that's kickboxing, Muay Thai, grappling, whatever it is, there's a weight for it that I feel comfortable competing at. Now, if you're putting yourself into a place where you are not able to satisfy those goals or even think about getting to those goals, like let's say, I don't know, you really want to run like or let's say you really want to do CrossFit. CrossFit's always like interested you want to compete in the CrossFit games, but you're not training, like you've never run in your life. Maybe like you got a few pounds extra from the holidays or, just overwhelming depression, which happens, and, you're just kind of like self-medicating with food and drinking and like any of these things that normally happen when you feel lost. And, like I said, all about body positivity to an extent. Do not get to a point in your life where you feel like you're limiting yourself from the things that you want to do because of your weight. I'm not saying you have to be a certain weight, a certain body fat percentage. It is proven that if you're over 32% body fat, you have a way higher risk of, like genetic diseases and like excessive stress on your heart. You're way more likely to get diabetes. I think it's terrible that the average body fat percentage in America right now is 41%. 41%. That's way, way higher than 32%. And that's as a woman, right? 32% for a woman. I think it's 24% is considered overweight as a man. But I don't see it as people eating too much, right? I see it as people are lost and they're using food as a crutch to kind of fill the void until they understand what their purpose is or figure out how to get to their purpose. I'm lucky enough that, like I said, my goal is fighting, and I've sacrificed a lot to get to that goal of making sure that I'm fit enough in good fighting shape pretty much at all times. Right. And, there's other people that their bodies don't need to be as physically capable. There's artists, there's people that paint, there's computer programmers, there's people that satisfying their purpose in life is sitting and coding or, singing, things that are way less active than fighting. Right. But in order for you to do those things correctly, in order for you to live out that dream to its fullest extent, you need to take care of yourself. You need to eat correctly. You need to get enough sleep, and you need to exercise. And that's it. That's it. That's literally it. I would hate to get the opportunity of, let's say, I've always wanted to be a world champion, right? I would hate to get to, okay, oh man, somebody dropped out for this fight. Amanda, you have the opportunity to step in and get this world champion. Are you ready? And, I've been just drinking and eating terribly for the last 6 months. So I'm not ready. And I can't jump on that once in a lifetime opportunity because I didn't take care of myself. I wasn't ready. And it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So it's not going to come around again. Right. I know it's kind of a little bit off topic, but this all drives back to just taking care of yourself a little bit at a time. Right. So I know I always say that the health triangle is a triangle, right? But let's make it a square. So we've got exercising, we got sleeping right, we've got eating correctly. Let's add breathing correctly, right? So breathing through your nose, not through your mouth. There's actually something called hostage tape. It's like an actual brand where it's a little piece of tape. You just put it over your mouth, and you're supposed to use it for when you're exercising or when you're sleeping, and it stops you from breathing through your mouth. One of my friends actually gave it to me, and I haven't tried it yet because I'm intimidated by it. What if I don't think I breathe through my mouth? But what if I do? I might as well try it tonight. But anyways, I'm going to leave this here. Let me know in the comments if this was as interesting to you as it was to me, because I absolutely love this stuff. I live for this. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.